quick note, today is a long episode. It's all about editing. I walk you through start to finish how to do basic editing with tools in Reaper. If you don't have Reaper and you want to try it out, it's free. Go to reaper.fm, install it. It's a pretty light install. It's not a huge file. It's wonderful software. It's a free lifetime trial, basically. Try it until you want to pay for it. Highly recommend it. Go pick it up. Come back. It's about a 30-40 minute episode of editing, and I just walk through how to do it. We talk about things that you may not know about, you might already know about, I don't know. So it's a basic introductory tutorial. Sorry for how long it is. I don't know how to make this one shorter, so here's just the raw recording. Good luck. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to 30 Days of Podcasting, your home for all things podcasting, from idea all the way through the end of execution. Oh, that sounds dark. Let's not use that. Goodness. Anyways, the goal of this show is to bring you from an uncomfortable podcast newbie all the way through to a podcast that you can be proud of. Today on the show, we are looking at editing. So we are just going to dive in. I've got some on-screen tutorials. If you're listening to the audio this week, I'm going to do my best to vocalize what is happening on screen, but I recommend heading over to the YouTube channel and following along. I'm going to be doing all of my editing inside of Reaper today. That is my preferred audio workstation, or DAW, the digital audio workstation. So you have recorded some audio, and what do you do with it now? How do you make it go from what you have to what you hear other podcasts sounding like? And we're going to do some basic stuff today. We're not going to go in depth into a lot of the tools that are available. We'll do that in a separate video at some point down the line. But what we're going to do is we're just going to dive in. Let me switch over to that window. All right, so this is Reaper with one file inserted. This is something that I just recorded before I started. I have the baby monitor with me tonight, so I actually just did the room fuzz from that for a little background noise, so we have something to remove. Before we start, I just want to play this for you so you can hear what it sounds like. You can see that it's not there's not a lot on the line there. So we're just gonna, I'm trying to make this as close to what you might have starting out. So we're just gonna play it and see what happens. Welcome to the test recording. This is for this is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff. How to edit stuff together. All right. So that is our file that we're starting with. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to this to make it presentable. So we're just going to start out and we're just going to go through kind of a workflow. If you didn't record something in your digital audio workstation, your DAW, go ahead and just drag the files in. Most things you can just drag and drop. You can drag it, drop it, and it'll process and do what it needs to do. If you recorded something on Zoom or Riverside, download those files, drag and drop. You can go up to the top to insert media file in Reaper. I think in Audacity it's over in File, and you need to add media over here. But you just want to add that file in just like you're adding anything else to a program. If you're opening something in Microsoft Word, it's the same process. So once you have a file here, we're just going to start out by the very first thing. Is it loud enough? No. No, it's not. I can barely hear this. So we're gonna come right here to the volume knob here, and we're just gonna turn it up a bit. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff. Now you probably have the mixer locked into the bay down at the bottom. I detached mine so that it takes up less screen space, because sometimes I have a lot of stuff. So what I'm going to do is just show you a few shortcuts as we do this. You'll notice that I just made that taller and doesn't look like I hit anything. If you hold the control button or a command on Mac and just roll your mouse wheel, it's going to make it taller. It's easier to work with if you have a little bit of visibility on it. The other thing that I'm going to do is hold Shift and hit the up button. That'll just make my waveform look bigger. It makes it a little easier to see. Didn't actually change anything with that. The only thing that I've changed with the actual audio is on that slider right here, this little circle button. So I'm just going to turn that up a bit because I didn't record very loud because I wanted something to work with. So let's listen to it. Welcome to the test recording. This is for... it's not great. Oh, this is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff. There's there's fuzz. So the fuzz, like I said, is from a baby monitor. My room is usually whisper quiet. You can see right here, do you see this line here that's kind of thick? Ideally, that would be just a pinstripe line all the way across until there's words. These words, when it's spoken that you see here, they kind of look like waves. That's referred to as the waveform. So we are going to be working with the waveform, and we want it to look as good as it can because that's usually how it sounds the best. So we're going to start out with this section right here. I am just going to highlight this section. You may have to grab up at the top here to make it happen in Reaper. But you're just going to highlight a section. Just click the right mouse button or the left mouse button and drag. It'll highlight a region. And then we're going to come over to our FX right over here on the far left here. And we're going to click FX. I have a lot of presets that I have that I just go in and I hit add FX chain. And it adds all of my, the ones that I use commonly, my template for that. But for this today, we're going to add manually. So we're going to click in and we're going to go to Kakos. They're a plugin manufacturer that works with Reaper. And we're going to use these. These are all stock plugins. They come with Reaper. They're standard. They're easy to use. There are better plugins out there that do more, but we're starting with the basics. So first one we're going to add in is Reefer. And what this does is this allows you to remove that static. So I've got my cursor, my play cursor over here in the highlighted area. I'm going to hit this little circle up here, this repeat, so that as we play it, it's just going to be the fuzz. All right. So within this Reefer FX app, we are going to change it from EQ mode to subtract because we actually want to take some stuff out of here. As you play that clip, you see how there is these waveforms down at the bottom. This line here is what we're going to take away. So if we bring it down, the static is back. So we're going to click automatically build noise profile. What this is going to do is this is going to automatically change where this red line is to cover this waveform. As it does that, it eliminates those frequencies at those levels from the entire recording. So as you're talking, those levels are gone. Ideally, this line is flat to begin with, so you don't have to worry about it. Because it is always better to record well than it is to try to fix it in post. That's why we talked about, when we talked about recording, we talked a little bit about your environment, your space around you. If you hear some static, if you hear some echo, treat the space before you start. Because it's just easier. It's better. There's less processing. So let's see how that effect changes the voice sound. Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff. But we're still stuck in the loop. How to edit stuff together. All right. So let's just for listening's sake, let's turn the FX on and off. We're going to hit repeat. Together. How to edit stuff together. Let's turn it off. How to edit stuff together. How to edit stuff together. Do you hear that fuzz in the back? How to edit stuff together. How to edit stuff together. How to edit stuff together. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. So we've got that one in place now. Now we're going to add what we call, so that's noise reduction. We're going to add EQ next. And EQ is equalizer. When it's re-EQ, it's still in the Kakos bass installs. EQ, when you think of a sound engineer in a music studio, they've got the mixing board that has all the switches and knobs and the faders. Well, an equalizer is something that you usually think of when you see those. And the EQ changes the tone of your voice a little bit. Sometimes it's really subtle. Sometimes it can be really dramatic. So we're just going to come into here. There's a bunch of standard ones, and I can't tell you what's going to sound good on your voice. For the clients that I edit for, I use a different EQ on all of them. I start with presets, and I just kind of play with one until one of them sounds good. I know for my voice, a lot of times the band full vocals works. And you see how it just changed and added all these things in here. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot to EQ that we could go into. But to be honest with you, it go off sound. What sounds good to you for your voice?
This is for welcome to the test recording. 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 This is for
I don't have a lot of low end to
the test recording. This is for
sometimes my voice sounds good with a female
This is for welcome to the test recording. This is for welcome to the test recording. This is
so the EQ, it just kind of helps smooth out your tone. If you have a very deep, bassy voice, you can drop that out a little bit so that it's not as much. Because most podcast listeners are listening on mobile devices and they don't have that deep bass end, so you might want to pull that back a little bit. You can do that with EQ. Likewise, if you have a high tinny voice naturally, you can add a little more bass in. You can drop a little bit of that high end out, all through EQ. There are gobs of tutorials on YouTube with sound engineers from everywhere, from Pixar. I mean, there's phenomenal, gifted EQ artists that can teach that a lot better than I can. Start with a template. You can adjust some numbers as you need to. You can drag it up or down a little bit, see how it sounds. If you can't hear the difference, don't worry about it. Go with a template that makes your voice sound what you think is good, and let's move on. After EQ, we're going to add in what's called compression. Compression is something that is magical. A lot of people don't understand it. They overcompress, they undercompress. It's a very technical idea. But basically what we're going to do in Reaper is the parts that are really loud, we're going to squish them down just a little bit. And the parts that are quieter, it's going to actually bring those up just a little to kind of balance it all out a little, so that we don't have high highs and low lows. I didn't really read this with a lot of dynamics in the voice, but we'll add one anyways, just so that we can have it there. Recomp is the one that is standard, and it does a decent job. We're going to come to presets, and we're going to add a preset just because it will make things easier to start. Let's go with a modern vocal. Let's hit play on this segment that's repeating and just see what settings are here.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for welcome to the test recording.
All right, there's a lot happening on this screen. Don't get overwhelmed. We're going to start left to right and just work across kind of what stuff is. This slider right here is your threshold. This is what level the compressor kicks in. You don't want it compressing a lot, but you want it to hit some.
To the test recording, this is
so all the way up here, it's not going to catch
to the test
anything
recording.
At all because
this is for
the threshold
welcome
is
to the
above
test recording.
where the
This is
coming in.
for
Likewise, if you
to
put
the
it all the way at the bottom, it's going to compress it to 0 because you have it locked out.
Welcome to the test recording. This is
if you have it up way too loud and it's compressing a lot. Do you see how muffled it sounds?
To the test recording. This is for welcome to the test recording. This is for
if we add the auto makeup back in,
this is for welcome to the test recording. This is
it helps the volume, but it just
to the test
doesn't
recording.
Sound great.
This is for welcome to the test recording.
We just want to smooth it out a little.
For welcome to the test recording. This is for welcome to the test recording. Welcome to the test recording. This is for.
So you're going to put it near the top end so that it hits the high ends. It's hitting here.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for
where it's at the top.
Welcome to the test.
For what we're doing, there's this thing called pre-comp, and that's compression that happens before the compression. We're not messing with that at all. Our attack speed, that's how fast the compressor kicks in. So if you want it to kick in really fast, and it's kind of like it's coming, and then the compressor hits and it drops it down really fast, and it comes back up. That come back up is the release. So we want it to be kind of smooth. In Reaper, there's these lines that are kind of the defaults where 0 point is, and they're usually pretty decent for vocals.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for. Welcome to the test recording. This is for.
If we turn the attack all the way up, let's see if you hear a difference.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for.
It hits. It's not super strong, but it's there. The ratio is the next one that we're going to look at, and that is how much it's compressing. If we crank it all the way up, 99 to 1. That means for every 1 decibel, it's going to crank it down 99.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for. Welcome to the test recording. This is for.
It's very aggressive. We usually keep it around 5 to 1, between 4 and 6 to 1, just depending on how dynamic the speaker is. If you have a voice that is really loud and excited and really quiet at other points, and it's just kind of all over the place, you might need a little bit stronger ratio just to help keep everything kind of in the zone that you want it to be for your show. Every show could benefit from a little bit of compression. Just add it in. If you hit the modern vocal default, it's probably going to be pretty close. If you adjust your threshold to where it needs to be, it should be pretty close. The other thing that we're going to check is over here, the output mix. Wet is after it's been compressed, after it's gone through this compressor, it comes out wet. Dry is before it goes into the compressor. So you can actually add a little bit of both back in if you wanted to. If you needed a little bit more depth, if the compressor was doing a little more than you wanted it to, you could bring some of the dry back in just to kind of flush out that sound. The other button that we need to check is this auto makeup. And this is going to make up gain.
Recording. This is for. Welcome to the test recording. This is for.
It's just going to balance it out a little bit more with the auto makeup. So take a look at this. This is kind of the settings that you're going to start with. As you learn more and you can spend more time with compressors, learning more about what they do, how to best utilize them, you're going to change all kinds of settings on these to fit your voice, to fit your show the way that you want it to. If you're working with an audio engineer, they're going to do this for you to make it sound the best that it can. Just for this demo, though, go with these settings, adjust your threshold to where it matches your recording, because it might not be the same. And we're just going to move on from here. Those are kind of the base effects that we're going to add into this recording. The next thing we're going to look at is removing content that we don't like. I don't recommend taking out every single every single every thought word that you fill the air with. For one, it's natural. People say people think, people have that as part of their vocal cadence. If you took out every and and stutter from Jeff Goldblum, it would no longer be Jeff Goldblum's voice. It wouldn't be his thoughts. It wouldn't be the way that he delivers words, because Jeff Goldblum, he's a thinker, and he thinks and he makes sounds while he talks, and he gets really excited, and he gets there, and then, there's weird sounds, and then it's Jeff Goldblum. It's a terrible impersonation. I'm sorry, Jeff. But the way that we talk comes through in a podcast. The intimacy that you're trying to build with your audience comes through in a podcast. If you listen to me for very long, if you've listened to any episodes, you hear that I have quite a few ums and ahs. I actually take some out of the podcast, but I leave them in the video.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for. Oh, this is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff. How to edit stuff together.
All right. So a few things here before we get into that content editing. You'll notice there's red lines down here, and there's a red line right here. That means that we're going above 0 dB. We're getting pretty loud, which means that when the compressor kicks in and that auto makeup, we don't need to have this cranked up quite as loud to 18 plus 18 decibels, which I have right now. So I'm actually going to play this again and just adjust this volume down. If you click on the red, it goes away. And you can adjust and reset. So I'm just going to bring this all the way back down to 0. If you double click it, it'll go to 0. If you have it up really loud or really quiet, you double click anything, it'll go back to 0.
This is for,
so let's hit play.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for welcome to the test recording. This is for,
I'm just going to bring it up a little at a time.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for,
I aim for these lines to be around 6
decibels as
the max, between
welcome to the test
3
recording.
and 6.
This is for welcome to the test recording. This is for
all right, so that's maxing out at 1.8 or negative 1.8, so that should be good. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about editing content. How do you cut stuff out that you don't want to be there? This right here, I did intentionally to help illustrate an that doesn't need to be there. There's some uhs and ums that are tagged in here that are going to be really hard to cut, but they don't really affect the sound of it. So let's listen again real quick.
Oh, this is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff.
But this one's just all alone. So there's a couple ways to do this. One is you can put your cursor there, and if this is default Reaper and you haven't changed any settings, hit S, and it will split the track right there, so that you basically have 2 pieces here. And then you hit it again on the other side, and now you have 3 pieces. And then you can just delete that out. Well, that typically will leave a gap. That's fine. You can bring it back up. You can just grab it and slide it. You'll want to overlap just a little bit. This adds what's called a crossfade. There's settings up here where you can turn crossfading on and off. Grid lines, envelope. Crossfade is right here. So you can turn that off so that it doesn't do it automatically. But I like crossfade. Because what crossfade does is, instead of having, if this audio and this audio don't line up perfectly to where there's a seamless sound transition, what a crossfade does is it lets you basically turn one down while you're turning the other up. So they cross over each other, and you don't have those static, strong stops and starts. So we're going to leave that little crossfade there. The and ah is gone. The other way that you can do it, let me just Control Z out of it. Instead of hitting delete with nothing else selected, if you come up here to this button right here, this is ripple editing. Ripple editing will save you gobs and gobs of time. It's phenomenal. I don't know what it's called in Audacity or Audition. Ripple editing is pretty common terminology. Multi-track editing might be what it's called in other places. So once you have that selected on the track, per track, ripple editing per track, that means for this track, this one line, any edit that you make, it'll ripple the effects down. So if I delete this now, it automatically moved that piece over. So I didn't have to move it. There are settings where you can make it crossfade automatically. We're just going to drag it a little bit just to make sure that it's there. If we had a second track, let's say I had a guest host. Let's just record this real quick. We're going to add a track in. Let's hit, this arms the track so that it's ready to record. We're going to hit record up here.
Edit
so that we have additional talking happening during the Here it is.
How to edit stuff together.
All right, we'll turn that off.
stuff. So that we have additional talking.
Well, there's a lot going on here. All right. So once you have this one, this is ripple editing for all tracks. So if this top line is you and this bottom one is like a co-host, and there's just dead air or there's a whole section that needs to be cut, you select one of them and you have ripple editing all tracks selected. Hit delete. It deletes the whole vertical slice all the way up, all the way down. So now if you look, this piece and this piece line up perfectly along this line. This vertical line. Because everything that was in the middle there just got cut out. So just for illustration, if you listen now, there's going to be a weird random cut in the middle right here.
So that we have, here it is.
Wild. So ripple editing is magical. I love it. It can cause problems if you're not paying attention and you're ripple editing stuff that you did not mean to be ripple editing. But for the most part, it is a significant time saver. So ums and ahs. Cut the ones that detract huge long spaces. If you're thinking or looking at your notes, or you forgot to stop the recording to go take a phone call, whatever. Cut those out so that you just have the content that you want.
Welcome to the test recording.
If you just want a raw recording, send that.
Oh, this is for an editing demo about how...
All right, this here, we're going to take that one too. And I'm just highlighting and removing. I'm going to turn my ripple editing on and delete. Oh no, what happened? Well, the beautiful thing about Reaper is it's non-destructive. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. All right, so I did not cut before or after. So when I hit delete, I deleted this whole item because I didn't hit my S to cut here and to cut here. So we're just going to do that real quick. I have hotkeys set up that makes this a lot quicker. I've got a tutorial on that will be shared. But here we are. Delete.
This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff. How to edit stuff together.
All right. So I did a double take there. How to edit
stuff. How to edit stuff together.
And then I've got this mouth click here. I don't know if you heard that. This right here goes, it's pretty common when you are dehydrated or talk for too long. Some people it drives crazy. Some people don't mind them. Some people leave them all in because they're natural parts of speech. I remove as many of these as I see if they are loud enough to notice. So I'm actually going to cut this one out. I'm just going to highlight it just like everything else and delete. And then this part where we repeated ourselves.
To edit stuff. How to edit stuff together.
How
to edit stuff.
How to edit stuff.
How to edit.
We're just going to remove all that.
Demo about how to edit stuff together.
All right, that'll work. So this part here is dead air. It can stay because it's been the room noise cancellation has been added with the refer. But we're just going to grab right here on the end. We're just going to bring this up. Same at the beginning. We're just going to grab this and bring this up so that we have a nice clean segment here. All right, so most of you are going to want to add music into your show. We're going to cover music in 2 days, actually. So don't get ahead of yourself. But if you have some music that you're thinking about using, if it's on the radio or ever has been on the radio or could be on the radio, if you don't have a license to play it, don't play it. You may have heard there's like a 15 seconds of whatever. Nope, there's not. There's no grace period. There's no fair use. If you're using music that you did not pay for, that you don't have the rights to, don't use it. So I'm going to add in a track here that I have the rights to. It is from, I think I got it from Audio Library. So I'm going to change this to a mono mix. It's not really important. It's just a personal preference thing. And if you notice, this is way louder than mine, and it's way long. So we're going to grab the end and we're just going to drag it up. And I don't want this to play through the whole thing. I want an intro and an outro. So we're going to do this to here. There's my intro, and I'm going to copy and paste it. And there's my outro. I don't want the same part of the song, so let's change it up. Let's go way over here to the middle. That looks like a good spot. All right, so let's go ahead and just play this from the beginning and see how it sounds. Here's a hint, it's not going to sound great.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
Well, that actually sounded the same. All right, so with our music at the bottom here, we're going to add a simple fade in and a fade out. With Reaper, with a lot of editing, if you mouse over near the top, your icon changes to like a little half circle or quarter circle. If you grab that, you can see that it's already fading. You see how it's getting smaller? Pretty simple. So we're just going to add a simple fade out there and a simple fade in here just to make it a little less abrasive. Same over here. We're going to add a fade in and fade out. Let's go from the beginning and hear how this sounds.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
All right. So as short as this clip is, it's only 8 seconds total. This sounds really weird. So we're just going to take out the outro and we're just going to make this a track that is underlying. It just goes under the whole thing. One of the other things I love about Reaper is what you just saw. This is what you can do in a non-destructive editor. So I had already cut this down and made changes, and then I added changes over here to the outro, the end clip. I deleted that. I was able to come over here and just stretch this back out. And if you're using Audacity, you won't be able to do that because it's very linear in how it does things. If you wanted to do that, you would have to Control-Z or undo all the way back in order to make those changes. I love Reaper. It's $60. It's a one-time buy. There's basically a lifetime free trial period that has no paywall restrictions on features. It's a fully fledged demo. Get Reaper. Try it. You'll love it. I love it. So anyways, we're just going to extend that out, have the whole thing there.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
All right, so that has it's loud, right? But we don't necessarily just want to turn it down, because if we just turn it down.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
Kind of loud.
Yeah. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
All right, so we could do that. What I recommend doing instead is adding what's called a volume envelope. It looks really technical. It's super easy to do. So we're going to right click on the audio here. We're going to go up to Item Properties. And that's where you can change it to mono if you want mono. Right here next to it, though, is Take Envelopes. We'll click that and we'll just turn the volume one on. That's all you got to do. The other way to do it, if you right click on the track, you can actually find envelopes in this menu. It's a little bit bigger of a menu. Where are my envelopes? Take. Here it is. Take, because you're going to take stuff away from it. And you're going to do the take volume envelope. Pretty straightforward. So now with this, it added this red line here. And this is your volume take. If you don't change anything, you're just adjusting the volume. It's like you were turning this knob. So we're going to set this back to 0 so that it's a baseline. And then we're going to add a few points on this line. So I'm going to hold Control and just click a couple points at the beginning and a couple points at the end. I do 3 and 3. Pretty easy. In the middle, we're going to grab the line and we're going to drag it down. Now, if you notice, the volume stayed up at the beginning and up at the end, and it's down in the middle. So let's listen to this now and see how it sounds.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
It's very abrupt. It's very fast. It's like someone quickly turned down a knob, and it's just so fast. So we're going to add use some of these other points that I've added in just to kind of smooth that out a little, just to make it a little bit more gradual down and a little more gradual up. Let's see how that sounds now.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
Let's track that out a little.
Welcome to together.
Let's drag it out a long ways and add a bigger fade.
Edit stuff together.
Sure, that'll work for what we're doing here. So you notice we brought it down while we were talking, and then we brought it back up at the end. If this is going to be your podcast and it is longer than 8 seconds, you probably won't have this fade out and the volume coming back up. You might let the music play for a minute. You might not. Most of the shows that I work on, I will just fade it out at the end of the intro here.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
And then it'll just keep talking. But the music just kind of fades out naturally until it's no more. All right, so let's say that we are happy with this and we are ready to save it. How do we get this from this format in Reaper to our host, somewhere where we can share it later? Well, in Reaper, we're going to come to File and we're going to go to Render. I think in Audacity, it is Export. It's either going to be called Render, Export, or Bounce. It's typically one of those three things. And those all basically mean the same thing, where we're just taking it from this format and we're getting it out into a different world. So render, we are going to render the master mix, and that is everything combined into one. We're going to do the entire project, not a time selection, not a region, the whole thing. We got to pick somewhere for it to go. I'm just going to put it in, it hurts to do. I'm just going to put it on the desktop because I'm going to delete it. File name, title it something that will resonate, that you'll be able to find and locate appropriately. So this is 30 days _ demo _ editing. That way, no matter what I do, no matter where I find this file, I will know, oh, this was for my 30 days podcast. It was a editing demo. Sure. Sample rate. We don't adjust the sample rate. 44.1 is pretty much audio standard for podcasting. If you are doing video stuff, it might come through as 48 sample rate. If you have a 41 and a 48 sample rate and you try to put them into the same project, they won't line up. So if you have audio that you got from Zoom, or a video that you got from Zoom that you recorded or whatever, if it recorded at 48 and you change your audio to 41, eventually the lips and the words won't match because they're taking different samples. That's the number of times that it is looking at the recording per second. It's measured in hertz. It's really fast. So we leave it at 44.1, and we're going to change this to mono. There's some debate about why mono over stereo, and that's because spoken word doesn't really benefit from stereo. If you have a musical podcast that is sampling stereo music, you may benefit from stereo channels. I listen to a lot of stuff with one earbud in. A lot of people do. While they're at work, while they're working out, while they're running. It's especially if you're moving around, it's safer to be able to hear what's going on around you. Mono gives you the entire experience in one channel, so that you don't have one person in one ear and one person in the other ear. And if you take out one ear, guess what? Well, you lost half the conversation. So run it through mono. It's fine. We're going to change the format down here at the bottom. Wave is huge. It's lossless. It's high quality audio, but it's huge. The file size is huge. We're going to change it to MP3. MP3s have been around for quite a while. It compresses the file without losing too much quality. And the bit rate is the last thing that we're going to change right here. 128 is CD quality audio. It captures a high frequency range, and we don't necessarily need that big a range. Since we're in mono, if you go 64K, That's actually the same as CD quality audio, because 64 in left and 64 in right, put them together, it's 128. I find that sometimes you lose a little bit with 64, so I usually export things at 96K. It's a nice balance between the two. It's not overboard. It's still a small file size. So we're just going to render that. And if you pull it up, you can't see this anymore.
Welcome to the test recording. This is for an editing demo about how to edit stuff together.
All right. So that is the file that we just exported. If that was our show, it's ready to be uploaded to wherever we're sending it. And we'll hit hosting in a few days as well. It's all starting to come together. I hope that you're hanging out with us still, that you're still on board. This was a lot. This was a lot to process. I hope I walked through it in a way that is approachable, that it's usable. Go back through, look at stuff. I'm going to be posting a second video that is a little bit about how to set up hotkeys in Reaper so that you really benefit from some speedy tips. For instance, I can highlight underneath. If I hit S, my S doesn't just cut one spot. It cuts out the whole thing and adds a crossfade automatically. It's beautiful. I love it. Also, if I hit D on that same thing, it deletes just whatever section that is without moving stuff around, which is really useful if you have you and someone else talking at the same time and you do one of those, no, you go ahead. Well, you can just cut yourself out without changing the whole track. It's nice. But I'll go through all of those in a separate video that is it's already recorded. I just need to share it with you guys. So I hope you've got something from this today. It's a lot. Go back, watch it again as you edit stuff on your own. Practice. Doesn't have to be your show. You can make a little sample demo like this one. It's very low stakes. There's a lot you can play with. If there's more that you want to learn about, YouTube is a phenomenal teacher. There's a lot of tutorials out there. So find someone who connects with you, who you understand, who talks on your level, and just type in what you're looking for. If you want to learn more about compression in Reaper, search compression in Reaper. It's pretty straightforward. If you want to learn more about envelopes, about fades, about hotkeys, about just changing, if you don't like the way this looks, Reaper is highly customizable. You can change the skins to make it look like anything. I've seen people who are coming from ProLogic who want it to look like that, and they've changed the entire screen to look like ProLogic. It's phenomenal. So YouTube will be your friend. I hope you've got something from this today and that you can use, and that you'll become a little bit more comfortable editing on your own. I am an editor. I do this for other people a lot. I love it. This is my bliss. This is where I love to be. So if you have questions, let me know. If not, thanks, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is actually an interview with Steve Stewart from the Podcast Academy, and we talk about digital audio workstations and editing, and it's a great conversation. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Until then, have a good one.